Okay, so what happens when a lead throws everything at you? Okay, for example, not in a position to invest yet. I've worked with people in the past and it hasn't worked out. I want to try things myself. What do you do then? There's 3 different things you have to tackle there. How do you get this person on a call when they're giving you 3 barriers to booking them in for a call? Now, a lot of you guys would get stuck and you go, okay, bro, let's talk in 2 weeks. No. Right, I'm going to show you what to do here, okay? Starting from the beginning, okay? So this was a lead that followed us first. So inbound, funny enough, people think inbound means they message you first. No, inbound means they interact with you in some way, shape or form first. So this was a follower, right? Now we messaged them. So it's not a cold DM because they're not cold. They know who we are, right? I can make a separate video on the differences between cold and inbound because it trip setters up. But anyway, right? So I said, hey, name, thanks for the follow. Really appreciate it. Just hitting on back, right? Actually got something here I think you'd like. Helps online coaches like yourself get more qualified leads. To be more specific, they'll match your exact criteria before having to speak with them, right? Cool if I send over a quick video that shows how we do this. And he said, yeah, cool. Send it on. Name, the person that I'm working with, the client's name, right? Please send it on. I said, cool, sending it now. Let me know what you think. And then I sent a VSL. That's what the video down there is, right? Sent the VSL, which is like a 2-minute video explaining exactly how we can help with the results we've gotten. And then a call to action at the end to send a thumbs up to book on a call. Okay, awesome. So he saw it, didn't respond. So I followed up. Any thoughts on that video there, name? Again, didn't respond. Next day. Morning, name, seen this at all? And by the way, guys, if this guy didn't respond, I would have gone to the ends of the earth. Honestly, I would have gone to the ends of the earth to get this guy to respond, right? Anyway, so we can make a follow-up video separate, right? He said, how's things, name, right? Yeah, it does look brilliant. Fantastic. Brilliant. He's already complimented it. He already can see the value, okay? I'm not in a position to be purchasing things just yet. It's the first pillar, right? We're going to focus on. But I will most likely be onto you, okay? So there, right? Immediately what I'm thinking, right, is I'm not in a position to be purchasing things just yet. Now, that can mean anything. It could mean I'm scared. It could mean I don't trust you. It could mean I have no money. It could mean he doesn't even believe in the value, right? It could mean anything. It's a smoke screen here. It's like, oh, I'm not in a position to be purchasing things just yet. Like, just not in a position. What does that mean? Right? So immediately I'm thinking, right, okay, this guy's got a lot. But immediately, right, he said, I most likely will be onto you, right? Great. Okay, so we can tell value is not really going to be much of a problem here because he's saying it looks brilliant, right? And I will most likely be onto you. Okay, so the value doesn't really seem to be the issue here. Also, he said, I know name, which is a client of ours, and I've seen you helped him, so I can trust that, right? Cool. Trust. Trust is a big thing for him. Why? Probably been burnt in the past, or he's skeptical of the entire space. So he's not in a position to invest, right? Not necessarily because he's got no money, but mainly because of trust, which we just said there. I can trust that you are good because you've worked with this client, okay? Trust is a big thing, clearly, okay? We're going to focus on that. Trying things on my own for the next couple of months as I invested on what I thought was a mentor last year and didn't turn out like that at all. I'll be in touch. Okay, so cool. Trust. Why? Why trust? Okay. He's a bit skeptical. He wants to trust that we can actually help. Okay, fantastic. Why? Because he's been burnt in the past. Okay, cool. So the position to not be, so the fact that he's not in a position to invest isn't necessarily because he's got no money. It's because, right, he has just told us here, he's been burnt in the past. He spent money on a coach and didn't get the value that he thought he was going to get. Now he is categorizing us, because we're similar, in the same bucket as the guy that didn't give him the results, right? So it's not that he's not in a position to invest yet because of the money. It's because he doesn't really feel comfortable enough to look at anything else because he's been burnt in the past. That is the objection, right? He's been burnt before. Cool. Now, a lot of you guys would see that and think, oh, I'm not really in a position to be purchasing things just yet. That sounds like he hasn't got any money. No, it's a smoke screen. And luckily, like, here's the thing. We haven't had to dig that much. He's literally told us, I'm trying things on my own because I've been burnt in the past. So the reason why he's trying things on his own now is because he doesn't really trust anybody else. It's trust. He needs to see that we can actually help him out because he's been burnt, right? That's his problem here. Okay. So what I said back was, fair one, bud, right? And don't worry, I couldn't care less about finances at the moment. We don't work that way. So immediately, right, he's thinking money. He's thinking, oh, I'm going to have to pay another guy. Oh, I've been burnt in the past. Did that before, didn't work. I'll run away, right? Because he's been burnt and it's normal. It's human behavior, right? It's normal human behavior. So I've immediately just diffused it. Okay, fair on, mate. And don't worry, right? I couldn't care less about money right now, right? We don't work that way. Now that's lowering his guard, because immediately I know he's saying that because he's thinking of, again, he's paid a guy, it didn't work out. The reason why he's thinking that is he's attaching money to it. He's bringing money into the conversation. If we just say, look, money's not, let's not talk about money right now, okay? The reason why it's such a big deal is because he paid someone money and it didn't work out, right? So let's just get rid of money here. Look, mate, don't worry. I don't care about the finances. We don't work that way anyway. Okay. And I said, I'd like to know who I'm working with before we talk about prices anyway, to learn more about their business, right? And make sure we can actually help them, right? Now, here's the thing. This is going to come from niche understanding, right? And also like sophistication within the market you're in, right? So I know that when these guys get burnt by other mentors, I know that it's quite a few reasons that it could be. So a lot of the time it's they come on board, they get no support, right? They come on board, they see the content, they don't really think it's worth the money and they feel like they've been scammed, right? And it usually is to do with, I paid you all this money and didn't get what I thought in return. But mainly it's support. They come on board, they feel like they're just chucked in some group and then forgotten about. So I've said, I like to know who I'm working with before we talk about prices anyway, to learn more about their business and make sure I can actually help. So immediately we're going one step further, right? And differentiating ourselves by saying, look, this is a call, but unlike what you've done in the past, this isn't what you think of like a sales call. I like to do this to make sure that I can actually help the person I'm talking to. Now, just from that, right, is going to put him in a much more of a trusting state, because immediately we said, look, mate, I want to chat with you before I even talk about prices, right? Now, I guarantee, and I know this from our competitors, right, that these guys don't frame things like that. They're just like, oh yeah, let's hop on a call. And then they try and pitch him and sell him straight away, right? So immediately just, making him feel safe. We're not like that, right? We don't care about finances right now. We like to know who we're going to be working with and have that chat on the call. That's what it's for, okay? Besides, mate, hypothetically, if we were to work together, I'm not going to ask for an arm or a leg. I make it accessible for every coach regardless of the situation. Pretty cool guarantee as well, where I actually have to pay you if I don't get you 20 clients in 6 months. Happy to explore it with you, bud, right? Either way, I can definitely give you a good pathway of where to go. Doing it all yourself is great, just a lot slower. Let's have a chat, mate. Not going to hold a gun to your head, right? It will be a good connection to have regardless. Boom, right? Here's the thing. I sent that, and you're going to see in a second, I sent that knowing that I've just diffused the whole thing, right? Because as you can see here, right, he's gone, I'm not in a position to be purchasing things, right? He's scared. He needs to trust us. He's been burnt in the past, right? He needs to feel safe, right? Now, I've just thought with these competitors that he's worked with before, right? What are the common things that I've seen within this niche that I hear about bad people they've worked with? What's the issue, right? And a lot of the time, the main underlying pillar is support. They come on board, they get no support, okay? So he's just said there clearly, right? He said, I thought was a mentor, didn't turn out like that at all. Clearly, right, he wanted mentoring and didn't get the mentorship. So clearly it's a support thing, right? So I can tell that based on what he said, right? So I've immediately said there, right, look, I like to know who I'm talking with before I even discuss finances. So immediately that's going to make him feel safer. The fact that, like, if we're going to go through that much effort before we even know who you are, or, try and sell you something or tell you the price, we want to know who we're talking to make sure we can help. If we're going through that much effort, and how much effort we're going to put in when you're on board, it shows we actually care just from that. Just before we even get on the call, we've shown that we actually care about our people that we work with. Okay. And besides, mate, hypothetically, if we work together, I'm not going to ask for an arm or a leg. So I've just destroyed the pricing thing there as well, because he's like a little bit skeptical. I can tell, he's very skeptical of like giving money up front to a stranger that doesn't really trust. I'm like, look, mate, if we did work together, it's not an arm and a leg. I make it accessible for every coach I work with, right? Regardless of the situation. I know that he's probably been on calls and they've gone 10 grand. Right. So immediately saying, look, mate, we make it accessible for the coach depending on the situation. Again, it shows, number one, it's more accessible, right? And it's an easier conversation to have about finances. And also we make it accessible for the coach specifically, right? And their situation. So again, it's more care, more effort put into the client that we work with, right? It's going to make them feel safer about working with us, right? So if we can make him feel safe with the idea of working with us, then he will definitely feel safe to book on a call. Okay. And then I've just put the cherry on top with the guarantee. So pretty cool guarantee as well, where I actually have to pay you if you don't get 20 clients in 6 months, right? So again, look, mate, you're going to get results, because if you don't, I'm going to have to pay you, right? And I'm happy to explore it with you, mate. Either way, I can definitely give you a good pathway of where to go. So he's told us, I want to try things by myself, right? Well, mate, either way, let's hop on and I can give you pointers regardless. Okay. Doing it all yourself is great, just a lot slower. Let's just have a chat, mate. Right. Not going to hold a gun to your head. Will be a good connection to have regardless. Right. We're being so non-salesy here. Right. We're making him feel safe. And this is the key thing here, guys. Right. So he's clearly like uneasy because he's been burnt, and now he's got all of these walls built up. I've just destroyed all of these walls by making him realize, right, and understand that we actually care about our clients we work with, because we're putting in that much effort to basically make sure the person we're on the call with, we can actually help them out rather than trying to sell them something. When we do try and sell them something, the price is, very fair based on where they're at. Right? We have a guarantee that says we have to pay them if we can't get them results. And we just want to have a chat. And either way, let's have a chat. We'll go through it. Either way, I can help you, right? I can give you pointers of where to go moving forward, because you're trying to do things yourself. It's great that you're trying to do it yourself. It's a bit slower. So on the call, worst case scenario, mate, I can give you some pointers of where to go to save yourself some time. Okay. Let's have a chat. Not going to hold a gun to your head. That's a super important line, because again, some of these guys feel like they're getting on a sales call and they're obligated to now pay. Look, mate, we don't care about that. We want to make sure we can help, right? I promise, not going to hold a gun to your head. It's just a chat, and it'll be a good connection to have regardless. Just completely safe frame that we've created for him to come into now. And then guess what? Boom. Yep. Bang on. I'm open to having a chat. I said, cool. Here's our calendar. He went solid Thursday, 12 p.m. booked in. I said, awesome. That's simple, right? I haven't had to go super back and forth with them. Literally in the space of a couple of messages, right? I've just destroyed 3 potential objections of money, of fear, and value, right? Like, for example, he wants to try things himself. He's not in a position, because I can tell money's going to be a problem because he's been burnt in the past. He probably doesn't want to spend a lot of money again. He wants to try things himself because maybe he went to that mentor and realized it wasn't that good what he paid for, and he had the inspiration to try things himself. We've just destroyed all of that, right? In the space of a couple of messages, boom, booked in. There we go. Okay. So guys, that's how you conquer a curveball that someone throws at you like that, because you're going to get a few of them, right? Where they give you a lot to deal with, right? That's how you conquer it in a couple of messages. Okay. So guys, look, that's just a little example of what we can do and how I can train you as a setter, right? And by the way, I've done this thousands of times. I've booked above 2,000 appointments as a setter. I've done well over 6 figures in commissions, right? I've done $2 million in cash collective for clients. I've worked with people like Charlie Morgan and William Brown, right? I know what I'm talking about, and I still do setting to this day. This was recently, okay? So look, if you want to learn from somebody who actually knows what they're talking about, I don't want to sit here and toot my own horn, but I can train you properly. I can get you on a really good role, paying you a lot of money, and I can train you to an elite level as well. Make sure you're performing extremely well, maximizing your commissions. I say that with utmost confidence, right? I can do this for you properly. I can get you trained very well. I can get you on a very good role. And if you want to learn more about how that works, whether you're a beginner or you're experienced and it's not really going the way you want it to, there's going to be a link down below in the description to book and a call with me one-to-one, and I'll run you through exactly how I can help you, right? Master appointment setting, so to speak, the same way I have. So look, if you want to chat and see how that works, book in the call down below, speak with me one-to-one, and we can go through it. Thanks.